to our if you have a link to our Zoom class, you can also see the screen that way. So, all right, let me share my screen real quick. So, uh, so that way you guys will be able to see it when you go to YouTube. Um, let's see this way. Yeah. So best way to see the screen, you can go to YouTube channel and you can also see the chats too. I think I know I've seen some people in here too. So here's what we're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about Sokotoa today, and then I'm going to take some questions that you guys have in trouble with. Geometry is hard. As people, it's not hard as people make it to be. Yeah, it depends. If you have a um I'll tell you guys too, and like in all those classes, if you study for them, you know, and you do them often, and the easier it becomes. So that's the only thing is it's like with anything. You want to play basketball, you got to practice. You want to play football, you got to practice. So after you study for them a lot, eventually you become really good where it's kind of like common sense to you. So most of the stuff that I'm showing you here is just like stuff that do over and over, and it becomes really easy eventually. So that's what I'm going to show you guys here. You're welcome. So let's talk a little bit about Sokoto. I know some of you guys wanted to see that, and then I'll take some questions that I'll answer next time. Uh, so, oh, I didn't mean to do that. All right, cool. So if you have any questions in the meantime, too, you can ask in the chat on YouTube. Hey, what's going on? Sylvia, what's up? So you can ask on the chat on YouTube, and yeah, so that's the easiest way. It's also to Facebook, but you guys mostly probably gonna use YouTube because that's easier for y'all. There's a link in there. All right, so let's say that you have you got to understand some of these formulas are coming are related to what we know. When you have a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Some of the formulas are related to that in a certain way. But when you talk about, trig or however they call it, geometry, however they call that in your class. So if I have a triangle, right triangle, and I wanted to find a sine, a cosine, or the tangent of an angle in that triangle, the mnemonic that we can use is uh, so ka toa. And as the name suggests is, and I know guys, you guys asked me to touch on this, as the name suggests is sine is equal to opposite. So let me move this so I can define it for you. So what it says, if I need sine of an angle alpha, so I'm going to take the opposite side and I'm going to divide by the hypotenuse. And I'm going to abbreviate those and not write the whole word. So I'm going to take the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse to find a sine. And for the cosine, I'm going to take um, the adjacent side. I'm going to divide it by hypotenuse. So that gives you the so part of the formula. So sine is equal to opposite, which is SO, over hypotenuse, which is H. So that's how you find a sine. And to find the cosine of the angle is use the same mnemonic to COH. So cosine C ca. I see. What am I saying? So ca to us cosine is equal to cosine of an angle alpha is equal to adjacent sine divided by the hypotenuse. And I think what you guys haven't all confused with is when do you consider a side adjacent or when do you consider the side opposite? And then tangent, and that's the definition. Tangent is equal to tangent of an angle alpha is equal to, or whatever you call an angle, is equal to tangent is the total part. So that means the opposite for O opposite divided by the adjacent side, A adjacent side. Now, here's what creates the confusion. Sometimes, every time I do this, kids usually have questions about, which side is the opposite, which side is the adjacent. So the way I like to think about it is opposite is directly facing opposite to the angle. So if I draw something coming from the angle out here, the side that's opposite to it is this 3 right here. So that's the opposite side of the angle alpha. Now, if I had an angle here, the side that's opposite to this angle, let me write the angle in a different color. And I don't want to confuse you by that, but you got to be able to find a distinction between these. So if I had an angle here, an angle beta here, for example, the opposite side of to the angle beta would be the side that's 4. Now I didn't even name those. Let me name these A, B, C, for example. So that way we can differentiate between the length, the name of the sides. So now remember, opposite, directly opposite the angle. Adjacent mean next to, and I'm not considering this angle. Let me erase the angle B. Adjacent mean next to. So adjacent, next to the angle alpha. So the angle alpha here, there are 2 sides that forms this angle alpha. One of them is this side that makes up the angle alpha, 2 side, and then the other one is this side. Of course, we're not talking about this because this is the hypotenuse. This is the longest side of the triangle. The side that we're referring to that's adjacent to the angle alpha is this side. So it's next to it. And this is the only thing that you need to remember to apply this mnemonic. So, adjacent, next to, opposite, facing, directly facing this. So now, what I like to do when I'm doing those is you got to consider, okay, this is the angle that I'm considering. So they can't really tell you, say, hey, if you don't know the angle that you're considering, so that you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So let's say that I had an angle, like I was saying, if I had an angle beta here, the opposite side to the angle is not going to be the same one as this angle alpha here. So this is the only part that you need to consider. So the first thing I would do is saying, okay, what is sine of alpha? So let me rewrite a triangle again as I'm scrolling down. So AC, ABC, ACB, 4, 5, 3. All right, I'm gonna draw the triangle again. So that way I don't have to keep scrolling up and down. So the side is 3, the side is 4, the side is 5. And then the angle here is alpha. Now, so, and again, if you need to see the screen, go to YouTube. That's the easiest way to see it. Thank you, Ryan. Hi. Have you heard Oscar had a heap of apples? No, I have never heard of that. That's good. That's a good one. All right, cool. So now let's go and make this happen. So let's say we need the sine of the angle alpha. So how do we find this? So we know it's the opposite side of the angle, and I will name them the same way. I think this was B. Oh, is that this was C and this was B. So this is right here is B, and this is C, this is A. All right, so what's the opposite side of the angle alpha? So who can tell me what the opposite side is? The side of the angle alpha is. What's the opposite side? Let me see. YouTube. Let me see. Who can tell me what the opposite side of the angle alpha is? Yeah, that's right. AC. So, no, opposite, directly facing it. I mean, BC, right? BC. So that's the opposite side of the angle alpha. So it's the side BC divided by the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, which is AB, right? So how do we find, so what's the length of the side BC, the opposite side? What's the length of it is 3, and the hypotenuse is 5. So that means sine of the angle alpha is 3/5. Oh, Kaylee, you're not in school till Friday. Okay, I understand. Are you going back? Are you doing virtual school or are you going back to school? So now we find this, and this is the easiest way to find this. You know, it's saying, okay, sine of this angle alpha is equal to on the opposite side, which is 3 divided by the hypotenuse, which is 5. Now let's do cosine. Cosine says, I want to make sure I don't move the triangle. So cosine of the angle alpha, we're still considering the same angle, as it's saying it's the adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse. What's the adjacent side to the angle alphas? Is AC, right? Correct. AC divided by the hypotenuse, and I guess you guys know the hypotenuse, the longest side of the triangle. um, the longest side of the triangle AB. Okay, so what's AC? What's the length of AC? 4 divided by AB, which is 5. Now, okay. Now, tangent. There are two ways we can do this. There is a formula that say tangent is equal to sine over cosine. You can use that formula to find the tangent. Or the other thing that you can do is saying, okay, I know tangent is the Torah part of the mnemonic. Tangent is opposite divided by adjacent, right? We know the opposite side of the angle alpha is 3. And then the adjacent side is, let me make sure I wrote this down. Okay, first time correctly. All right, so we know the opposite side of the angle alpha is 3. Let me not be sloppy and just say tangent. I should have wrote these in different colors. Of tangent of alpha, actually. So tangent of alpha is equal to the opposite side of the angle alpha, which is 3, right? Divided by the adjacent side, which is 4. Now, let me scroll back up so you can see. The opposite side is the same one because we're talking about the same angle, divided by the adjacent side, which is 4. Okay, so 3 over 4. Now, however you want to put these in the calculator, you can put them and find the appropriate length. Now, here's another way that we can find that. We can say the tangent is the sine over sine over cosine. So, I mean, in this case, it's going to be a little bit harder. I mean, it takes a little bit more work to do it, but in reality, you can do it. You can always do this. So sometimes it might be the easiest way to find tangent of the angle. So now we know the sine is 3 over 5, and you divide all of that by 4 over 5, and that's how you would find tangent of alpha. So now 3 over 5 divided by 4 over 5. So we take, we have a fraction divided by another fraction. It's the first fraction multiplying by the second fraction inverted. So reciprocal of the second fraction, 5 over 4. So the 5 is gone. So what you left with is 3 over 4. And which should be the same answer that you had when we said here, 3 over 4. Now, yeah, so tangent of alpha is equal to 3 over 4. And that's the easiest way to find it. So hopefully that clarifies the questions for you, Susan. Hopefully that clarifies this for you. And if you have any more questions, you can either ask us in the group or via email and however you would like to. So let's see. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. All right, guys. Let me see if you guys have any questions. Anything that you want to ask me, I'll try my best to answer it. And then if not, we can move on to something else. Or just call it a night for today. So let me see if you guys have any other questions. Let's see. And if you are, let me see. All right, school hasn't started for you. Who started school already? Let's see. I'm trying to look for your questions, guys. All right. Okay. Well, welcome. God. I'm starting tomorrow. All right, nice. Okay. Are you doing virtual school or are you being homeschooled, doing virtual school, or are you actually going to class? Alisa, welcome. Maiwa, welcome back. All right, virtual. Okay, good. How is that going? What math classes are you taking? Um, so I think this should clarify a lot for you guys, and especially if you were, um, you had trouble with it, just like Susan did. So, BW, welcome. Yeah. So I think this should do it for today. If you have anything that you want me to cover next time, let me know. I can write it down and then cover it next time. I know some of you guys may not be in school right now, so that's probably why it's a little bit shorter than what we normally do. Because I know normally you guys are a little bit more have a little bit more question than that. So if you have anything that you want me to cover, you can. If you are a client, you can email it to us. If you if you just watching, um, um, you could probably comment, and if I get a lot of people commenting one topic, I may be able to cover it. But hopefully this clarified the trig part for you guys, and and if you're doing our exercises too in the class, you should be able to understand it. And if you have more questions, you can actually relate those. I mean, send those questions to me. Um, who else? Sarah, welcome. Okay. It looks like some of you guys are still on break, so I won't give y'all too much. Okay. Thank you guys for coming by, and if you are, yeah, thank you guys for coming by, and it was nice hanging with you. Lena, we just about to leave. Thank you for stopping by. People are pouring in too as we leaving. All right, cool. I think this is it for today, and I'll catch you guys in another class. And next Tuesday we'll be here again. No problem. Bye. You guys have a good night. India, welcome. We're about to leave. All right, you guys have a good night. Thank you very much for stopping by, and I'll catch you guys another time. Thank you. Bye.